Hey everybody, welcome to the Card Lounge. This is our newest show here on Pal Sports Cards. So what we're doing today is we are having a conversation with Michael from RarityRack.com. It's a new startup site where people go on and sell all their cards, collectibles, things like that. So Michael, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Nice to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me. Hello,
Yeah, no problem.
Nick and Brock. Well, pleasure.
So this is a real, like I said, this is episode number 1. It's a real laid back show, just like we're just hanging out. We're just gonna have a conversation, learn about some new tricks of the trade when it comes to the industry. All right. So Michael, just start it off. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in collecting cards? Like how did it start? When did it start?
Absolutely. And thanks for inviting me. Always pleased to get the word out. And this is my passion, my focus at this juncture. I've actually, to be honest, never had a better job. I'll put it lay that out. But my background, essentially in the collecting space specifically, and perhaps I'll get to the professional background later, but specifically in the collector space, my whole life, I really am a collector and picker. I would describe. I even honestly dabble in antiques, baseball cards. I have appreciation for any quote artifact. I view cards, cars, coins, rare books, everything as artifacts. And generally speaking, to my wife's dismay, as I'm driving past an antique shop, I have to always stop and pick around. So that is just what makes me tick, and my interest. And just to rattle off a few of my personal collections, baseball cards, front and center. In the 90s, of course, the 90s value of baseball cards is complicated. There is some value there on the super rare, but in the 90s, I was super into it. Error cards, getting every Beckett issue. In fact, at a recent card show, I just sold a perfect Ken Griffey Jr. With Beckett front page, probably for too little, but someone really loved the pickup. But even rocks, arrowheads, comics, baseball cards, watches, and I can go on and on. And Marvel and X-Men too. I think the anime is intriguing. So I'm easy to get into collecting, perhaps too easy. So,
What prompted you to start RarityRack.com?
So what inspired me to start Rarity Rack was Skip. So just as a collector, so it's easy for me to view this as a full-time gig. It's what's harder is how will it be a full-time gig? Well, it turned out that most of my professional career, specifically the past 13 years, has been in platform development, building, integration. And I'm really a technologist. Realized that I could create a cutting edge, platform and system that, in my opinion, as being a collector and buyer, seller, flipper for 25 years, it's my dream platform to solve a lot of my frustration with. The fun part about collecting and flipping and selling, it's all there. But then when the mechanisms to move these things, you realize you're actually net negative or often, or, oh my gosh, 30% of this just went, out the door due to promo fees. So long story short, to say I was inspired is an understatement. A fire was within that this must happen, that I must bring this to humanity, and there's a better way.
With like your site, what makes it different than any other? Like, is there one like small niche that you're trying to do to just? I can tell you one thing that I like about it is I go on there and I click on, say, basketball, because I'm looking for something with basketball, and all the products from across the board from every vendor you have on there show up in there.
I have had it's a small group, but there are some, brilliant design minds, where I bat around. I've done I roll the sleeves up and do the building, but there's people that I realize are better than me in certain areas, and that's exactly what they say. With a company, get people smarter than you. Smarter than you, better than you, filling gaps that you don't have. All of it.
So with all that being said, what are some, like, when we look at rarityrack.com, what are you looking for in the future? Like, what features or what improvements or upgrades, or maybe even something that you have on there, you're like, hey, this this is working right now, but I'm only going to show this for a quarter. Is there what's the future look like? What are you going to try to do with the site?
I feel it's very accurate to say that we are the next generation collectors marketplace, because of my unique technologist background, the fact that matching data seller to data buyer is basically like whether it's medical collectibles, that's the essence. And then the passion and the extreme amount of time and effort and incredible advisors, and actually accepting that advice, which is another, some founders and company builders may not accept, and that I would say is a fatal flaw. So all of these things have led to a situation where we offer something that I don't think anyone else does. And it's everything from the flexibility of being able to talk to a human anytime, to have a personalized touch on your brand, who you are, build a virtual store to complement a commercial or personal awesome collection, and then to get that feel from the company of essentially like having a similar passion in your collection that you do, knowing what it means to you, knowing that when you look at your collection, you remember the specific times in history where you acquired this. So you blend that with technology, and this is a little bit of a exaggeration, because sometimes it does take 3, 4, 5, maybe up to a week, but to boil it down, I mean, it is totally possible. It will require more work, but a new seller could give me all the background. What do you want out of your store? They give me 10, cool items to start their store. They basically blink. I mean, that's like a little bit of exaggeration, but in no time, I will have a prototype store with all their listings just from pictures. The pictures are sent to me in any way that is most convenient for them. We lean full into AI, so that's kind of a wink to your question about the future. So AI is collectibles and collectors' friend. It is, I believe, a match made in heaven. It's going to get more interesting every day with the capabilities, and so what we do is, I'm not aware of any other organization that you just shoot over pictures, and and we harness that personality, that what makes you tick as a collector.
All right. So last question we got for you today, and this is pretty much one of my favorite ones. What's your all-time favorite collectible that you have?
That is, I do have a lot of nice, incredibly nice collectibles. I think it's a hard question. It's a fun question. I will say, in terms of, so not to take this to a sentimental place. In our story on rarityrack.com, I'm not going to go into the too much into details, but life goes on. We're all human. So I lost a brother 20 years ago, and one of my favorite collectibles is a watch that I was trying to flip a watch for like 7 months. A Tudor Tiger chronograph, a really cool watch. It was an amazing watch in itself, and then I remarketed it, and even bought an authentic box, things like kind of blending and making a package that is bringing back the original authenticity to the fundamental level. It didn't sell for the longest time, and I reduced a little bit, and as you're aware, Nick, that we all can get burned in the big marketplaces. I was like, there's a certain point where this is the lowest. So it randomly, on the day that 20 years ago, when my brother passed, it sold. And then I was eyeing what's called a Rolex Thunderbird or chronograph, which is a very interesting watch in its own right. That came down significantly the same day. So then I end up scooping up this awesome Rolex that has kind of a red secondhand, and it on pretty much the day that he died. And it was 120 years. This, I want to say, at that point it was, let's say, 16, 17, because this was many years ago. Then I'm a realist. I'm not superstitious, so I was like, there's no superstition. I tried to sell it. I just was like, I want to make money even on the Rolex. I sell it to a party in Canada. It gets hung up, probably for a lot of reasons, not to get into politics, but so we basically bailed on the deal. The buyer, I was like, nope, we're scratching it. It actually, by miracle, even though I was just strictly business and making money and there's no superstition, it swings back. The box is all beat up, and it was on my doorstep. I got it back. Also, the year my brother passed in 2005 is the year that watch was made. It's a 2005 watch. I didn't even know. So there's 1 in 365-day chance it was made on the day he died. That I need to check that. The other favorite collectible, I'll say, is a tie, is this 1908 Joe Gans. He's a boxer. I believe he was from UK, and I think it's the only boxing memorabilia on the site. I've been told at card shows that it's kind of a secret that boxing memorabilia like Mike Tyson is undervalued, like across the board. And this is case in point, a 1908 Joe Gans, really an amazing. He was pushing the boundaries in terms of civil rights and equality, all those things. He was a black man, amazing boxer during a time which is rough to be a person of color, and it kind of distills all that in the back. And he was an amazing boxer. He just really top-notch boxer. And it was 1908, and the Honus Wagner $1 million card is 1909. So on my site, that Joe Gans is like $45. I got it for less than that. Pretty amazing scoop. And then you have 1 year later, just because of Americanized baseball and the history of baseball and how everyone appreciates it in a different way than boxing, you have like a $10 million card and then a $45 card. So to me, those really old ones are and yeah, those are the two that stand out the most.
And it's funny because mine changes all the time, like depending on if I find something new that I like. And one of my favorite pickups right now, I actually got off of your site, is the 1985 Hulk Hogan rookie card. It's just like, I just think that's just a cool card to have. It's just like I saw it on,
absolutely.
And that's just awesome. But the story behind that is great. Urging everybody, check out rarity-rack.com. I will have the link down in the description and everything on there for you to see. We'll be putting some other videos. We'll be linking to it that you can go on. You can see what the site is actually all about, but definitely urge you to go on there, check out the site, look at the stuff. It's some great stuff on there at great prices. There's some great sellers on there. So Michael, I just want to thank you for, coming on, being the first guest on the Card Lounge. Hopefully it was, worth your time for you. I just want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just do a 2-second plug on,
go ahead.
To stay in the queue, the download reminder on the app. Just look at the very top, the banner, as a refresher to all the business prop that I just went through. The moving banner succinctly summarizes that. And then there's a fast queue that's very clear on the website. So read through the FAQ, download the app. I have then the ability, I would recommend accepting push messages, because then for the best collectible on the planet, once that comes along, you'll get the push. It's there. And then the bottom left-hand corner of the homepage is the email subscription. So it's kind of like get the push on the app or sign up for the email, or both. Every week, like clockwork, I've been pushing what I'm now calling the Rarity Rack Rundown, that reminds everyone of these fundamental pillars, and that it's kind of the Rarity Rack special picks at the you'll see images of 9 collectibles that, in our professional opinion, should have been sold already. And to be honest, they're cool artifacts, and Joe Gans has been on there. Maybe next week, based on this discussion, I'll put Joe Gans, my brother's, the Rolex story. I've learned my lesson. That's mine forever. Right. So that one is never going to be, an artifact, but Joe Gans is for sale. I did have a friend say he wanted it, and he said he was going to buy it, but he never did. So that's part of the business too, is people, you think things are a deal and they're not, and you can't, no hard feelings. Right. So
yep, that's part of it. That happens. So again, hey, thanks for coming on. We'll be sure we'll have you on again here in the future, to go over maybe some more stuff, or even just to look at some of the stuff that's actually on there. So everybody, go to rarityrack.com. You can search him. He's on Instagram also at rarityrack. Hit, follow, like, subscribe, do all of that. So we'll see you next time on the Card Lounge. Thanks, everybody.
Keep collecting.